just felt like I've always had it like, oh, I can get it done or I can do this. And at that moment, I literally could not do it, y'all. Like,
you feel like you can't ask people for things. You feel like you can't talk to people. It's just little things like that that puts us in the biggest holes, and it could be avoided.
I just didn't think it was normal to have like 48-hour pair vacate. Usually they tell you like weeks in advance.
Hey there, if you're here, you're in the right place. This is the Circles Cobb Eviction playlist. Unfortunately, it happens every day. There is no shame. You are not alone. We hope you get some great information that can be helpful to you during this time.
hey everyone, my name is Nadia. I am 26, located in Marietta, Georgia. I have 2 children, young kids, and they're literally my best friends. And I'm really excited for this talk.
Love that.
Hi, y'all. I'm Yasmin. I am from Washington State. I have 3 kids who are my world, 15, 13, and 9. And I work in education, and I am a real estate agent as of the last 8 years.
Hi, everybody. I am Jazz. I'm a 34-year-old mother of 4. I am from New Orleans, lived in Powder Springs most of that time. And I'm a nurse assistant. I've been a nurse assistant for 10 years.
Hi, I am Paige. I'm 27, from the Bahamas, but I live in Smyrna now. I have 1 son. He is 5. And I work in healthcare and also as a bartender.
Okay, so we're talking about evictions, y'all. So basically, I live in Marietta, Georgia now, but my eviction happened in Washington State, and my kids are older. About the time that the eviction happened, my oldest would have been 5, my middle would have been 3, and then my youngest was a newborn, literally. And basically what happened was I was married to active duty, and hey, long story short, I sent him the money to pay our rent, but he had just gotten back from a deployment and he wasn't in the best mental state. So he literally took our rent money and went and got his own place. I'm saying this forward. I had no idea at the time. So I'm thinking rent is paid. I'm at home with the kids, working, finishing up my master's degree, and just thinking life is good. And we get a notice on the door that says 48-hour pay or vacate. And I'm like confused. So my immediate thought is to call him and see what's going on. And he texts me and he says, "Yas, you are a smart woman with a degree, figure it out." His words exactly. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, well, let me try to call the office. Let me try to figure out what's going on. I just didn't think it was normal to have like 48-hour pair vacate. Usually they tell you like weeks in advance. This is my thinking because I've never been through it before. Unbeknownst to me, he had got the notices prior and didn't say anything. So I had 48 hours to pack up our entire home and find a new place for me and my kids. And I think in that moment, survival, like you're in survival mode. I'm like, I'm literally in exams right now. Like I have to submit papers. I have a newborn. I have 2 young ones that don't understand what's going on. And I'm trying to keep myself together. And he literally would just pop in when he felt like it, spend time with the kids like it was normal, and then go back to his home knowing that I was going to get put out, trying to pack things up, find help, afford it at the same time. So I actually ended up paying the complex some money, the money that I had. They accepted it, but I had no idea at the time that I could have stayed. They still put me and my kids out. And I say by the grace of God that I was able to find us another place very quickly. and get everything moved, but it was very traumatic. Like mentally, now I'm realizing at the same time, I'm now actively going through a divorce. Had no idea at the time, but it was a mental state for me. Not that my ex wanted to go through a divorce, but you were okay with me and our children getting put out. And so it just put me in a different headspace. And it was not the greatest experience. The kids never knew what was going on. They just thought we were moving for fun because we were military, so they were used to moving. And that's the experience I let them have. And I would just cry behind closed doors, tried to figure out like getting a mediator, like for me and him, to try to figure out paying it back. They still wanted to put it on their credit, even though they had received some money. And it was just a very long process that now I wish I had the information I had now. Since they took the money, I could have stayed. There were options for me to figure out how to make payment arrangements, even around him not paying. And they were supposed to give the notice to both of us and not just him. And so, yeah, that was my experience with evictions.
I'm sorry that it happened to you. My story is vaguely similar. I was in South Carolina when it happened. I graduated in 2020 when COVID hit, so basically no one was hiring, and I got pregnant very soon after. I ended up working as an office assistant, um, but I have a pre-existing heart condition, and so I had to stop working later on in the pregnancy. It was high risk. And my partner at the time said, "Oh, don't worry about it. I make enough. I'll pay everything. Don't worry about it. Just make sure you take care of the kid." We had our son. Everything was great for about 7 to 8 months until there was a note on our door that he wasn't paying. Not that he was paying partial, not that he was late, that he hadn't been paying since right before I had my son. And so at this point, we owe about $9,000 to this apartment complex, and they want their money. I didn't know that I could fight it. I didn't know that I can give a partial payment. I didn't know any of this. I ended up running to the closest family I had in Georgia. And of course, I have a newborn, so they were eager to take me in and help me out. And so it's gotten better since, but I'm still dealing with the money on my credit, even though I wasn't paying, but my name was on that lease, and other, I guess, repercussions of that.
My eviction story is, it's not, my eviction was more so of not being knowledgeable. I think I was evicted more so on scare tactics than more than anything. We were evicted. So, when it rains, it pours. I did have all 4 kids at the time. My youngest was maybe 6 months, maybe not even that. My fiance had been laid off, and then I had gotten really sick. It was like not long after my grandma passing. She had passed the day before my birthday that year. It was really, really rough. And like after my grandma passed, I had the worst chest pains. I literally couldn't work. It was pretty bad. And we had told the office what we had going on. We communicated like we thought we should have, but they were telling us one thing, but not going by what they were saying to us. So we're thinking we're okay. One day we just get a note on the door because they were like, "You guys pay what you can when you can." So we're paying little bits at a time, thinking that it was okay. Put the note on the door, and because we felt so bum rushed because first of all, we thought we were okay. So we get the note and we're reading it and trying to make it make sense. And it's just like, it's a bunch of legal stuff. We don't know anything about that. We had no clue. I don't know the word, ignorant to it, because it's not something we were taught. So how am I supposed to know what this means? So we just get in fight or flight because we don't want to get put out in the street, but then it's like, where do we go? So we just, not knowing we actually had time and we could figure it out, we just packed up all our things, paid for storage, and we were going from room to room with all kids and paying for the rooms with Sezzle. It was a very low time, very depressing time, embarrassing, all just because we just didn't know. We just weren't taught. I felt like that's just something that shouldn't even be on my credit right now. But here I am still suffering from something that happened, Molly's 4 now. 4 years ago. Just because we just didn't know.
Yeah. I think for me, in my situation, I lived in an apartment complex and, my job, I'm a preschool teacher, pre-K teacher at the time, actually. And, you know, germs spread like crazy, y'all. And I ended up catching the flu. My kids actually had the flu as well. So I had to miss work for like 2 weeks. Like the first week, my kids was like dogs, like they were not feeling good. And then at the hospital, and then next thing you know, it hit me like a window. Like I was so sick. So I ended up missing work for like 2 weeks. Thought I had enough like PTO and sick time to cover. I knew bills were coming up. Of course, I didn't have exactly the whole amount. I did go ahead and communicate with my leasing office just to let them know, like, hey, this is what's going on, but I am trying my best to like get it together. I've actually never been late. I never had a late payment ever since I started having my own apartments and things like that. So I already like just growing up, knowing about evictions and experiencing them as I was younger, I always put myself in a position where I never had to go through that. And then realizing that I was eventually, or like there was a possibility that I had to go through it, I started getting like really bad anxiety. I got really frustrated. I actually reached out to a lot of like just community helpers, something like rental assistance and financial assistance and things like that. Because I had the money, I just didn't have the whole thing to cover my rent. At that time, y'all, I cannot make this up, okay? I've actually found a rental assistant program that was able to help me cover my finances with the rest of my like rent money, right? And y'all, when I tell y'all, I did not know this at the time. There were scammers. There were scammers. I got scammed so bad. I'm talking about savings and checking account swiped. They used a stolen credit card to pay my rent. I know y'all looking at me like, what? I literally did not know any of this. It seems so legit, honestly. I was at work at the time. Mind you, I was a preschool teacher, and my watch just kept going off from my leasing office. I'm like, is my house on fire? That's all I kept thinking. I'm like, is it a fire? What's going on? Um, so I took a moment. I had one of my assistant teachers come in so I can call them back, and the police was at my apartment, was like, hey, you need to get down here. There was a stolen credit card that paid your rent or whatever the case may be. And this was like a week after, maybe 2 weeks after. So whole time I'm living life like Larry, honestly, thinking everything is fine. And I just get a dramatic, like just phone call. And I just remember like just busting out crying because my first thought, I'm going to jail. Like literally my first thought was I'm going to jail for something I did not do. I was like very much confused. I got on the phone and I called my mom like, you're not going to believe this. Like I did not even go to the Birmingham police. I went straight to the police station. I'm not popping up there. I went to the police station to arrest my kids because I had some proof. But the only thing is that communicating with my apartment complex, I've been there like 2-3 years before this happened. Mind you, never really been late or anything like that. They couldn't really believe it. So there was grace there, right? They actually gave me the opportunity to stay at the complex, but they wanted me to pay the month I was late, the month that was actually about to happen. Going into this all happened in October 2024 to November, right? I also had to renew my lease at the same time, right? So I couldn't renew my lease because there was a past due balance, and it was just a whole thing. And I was explaining to them, if I couldn't pay your $1,400, what makes you think I can come up with $3,000 like that? You know what I'm saying? So I was very much confused of the whole, just the transactions, the process. I only received one notice on my door prior. That's when I ended up starting to communicate, like, hey, this is what I have going on. And when I thought I had help, it put me in a more dangerous position. And it's something that I'm still trying to figure out till this day. And yeah, it's just crazy, like, who does that, right? I think as well, like, just looking back is not realizing that we actually have to be careful and be mindful, like, who we're talking to, because, here in Atlanta, like, these scammers are really smart, and they're getting nice, innocent people that work hard. It's not me that was also hurt in this process, but the people that they're stealing from too. And it can be a lot.
They put that much work into a real job.
Yes, girl, a real
For them.
Yeah,
I'm sorry that happened to you.
yeah.
I hate that we all like had to go through anything remotely, similar, because just thinking back, mine happened in like, I want to say 2018. So it's been a while. And I love how you said like the rental assistance. Had I known that you could apply for rental assistance and they will contact the property if you don't have the finances, send a letter so that you can actually work through the process a different way. I think that would like save so many people the heartache and the stress of thinking they have to figure it out on their own. And then the biggest thing is like communication. I think sometimes, especially like as a, like a Black woman or just a person of color, you oftentimes don't want to communicate because of embarrassment, like, or pride or ego get in the way. And so it's like, I'm just going to try to figure out in the background and do all my, research. But then it could actually be to your detriment and cause you more of a hassle later down the line than just going and communicating. And like with yours, I was good with the property manager. The thing was, what I found out later, and mine was able to be removed simply because there was like a technicality. One of the girls in the leasing office, my ex-husband's friend, she was like having relations with him. So her thing to not communicate with me every day when I go in there, say hello, they never mentioned it to me, not once. Like, hey, you're behind. That's not normal. Because she had an attitude with my ex's friend, like a personal situation caused me and my kids are home because I literally had to go and get my kids every day from the leasing office. They had like little activities and stuff. Not once was it mentioned to me. And so looking back at that, like, I want to say some stuff, but it's on video. So it's okay. It's okay. We're here. Like we made it through, and it's like, there are things that we could do for our credit, but just the way life happens and people not thinking about your livelihood over their personal feelings is insane to me.
It is. I think the craziest part is just that although all four of our stories are different, simple awareness could have saved us everything. If they accept a partial payment, we couldn't have been evicted. If we just known these things, people can mediate on our behalf. It didn't have to cause the trauma. Our credit would have been saved. Finding a new place is so hard, even when you have a good credit score and you have the jobs, you have the income, but they look and say, oh, well, it looks like you owe your landlord from 2020. You can give a story, but there's no documentation.
Correct. Yeah. Mine, so when I moved, I said I moved really quickly, y'all. Let me tell you how much it cost, because that's transparency to people. My ex I did not have any student loans. Like, all of my school was paid for up to my master's degree. And I'm saying this for people, like, scholarships and grants are a real thing. Like, utilize them. Right before he knew what he was going to do, he had me take out a $20,000 student loan. So we had that money. He took 10. I had 10 left. I thought I had 10 left. So when I moved, I had to use almost $6,000 to get us put into a new place because I didn't have like all of the history and stuff. And because we were still technically married, I had to use his income to qualify, but he wasn't moving in with me. So that was a whole hassle in itself. And the lady, she's like, I don't know if I'll get in trouble with this. So I won't say her name, but I thank God for her because she went against protocol to get me and the kids a place because of what was going on. If it wasn't for her, I don't know, where we would have been at, but it did cost a lot of money to fix that. And, it's like money you can't get back, but it was worth it at the time, to have a roof over the head for my kids and stuff like that. So,
For sure. Like you mentioned, the whole being embarrassed, just trying to communicate, but being embarrassed to do so is what had us go from just running from the apartment and getting into rooms because I didn't want to ask anybody, hey, can we just come be here? And like I said, we were paying for the rooms with Cecil, so we were like paying for them in 4 installments. And by the time it was time to renew the room, we would be able to pay the 4. So we were like doing that over and over again. It was like a hamster wheel. Trying to keep up with that stuff was so stressful. And it got to the point where I was just like, this is a lot. It was a night where we couldn't renew because we hadn't paid one of the installments. So we had to sleep in the car. And that was the night I broke down and I was just like, I'm gonna call my mom. And it's not like I couldn't call my mom. I can always call my mom. It was just the embarrassment of doing so that kept me from doing it. Like I put myself, Cecil is on my credit right now because I couldn't finish. I couldn't pay it all. But having that embarrassment, I feel like we were born into that embarrassment feeling. Just the way we've always been treated. You feel like you can't ask people for things. You feel like you can't talk to people. It's just, if I could have just shaken the embarrassment, I didn't have to go this far. It's just little things like that puts us in the biggest holes, and it could be avoided. People don't have to do this. It's things out here. Just having the knowledge will put people in such a better space. And it's just like, I feel like people are hoarding the information, like keeping it to themselves is some type of secret society. People need help.
right.
I can't stand it. Like, people need help.
I think you literally took the words out of my mouth because the embarrassment part definitely hits harder. I think with me, I like to carry things on my own. Like, I never really asked for help. When I know I should, I've just felt like I've always had it like, oh, I can get it done or I can do this. And at that moment, I literally could not do it, y'all. I could not do it. And I had to reach out to my family because it's not even about me anymore. It wasn't about me anymore. It was about my kids and not going through the same things or not witnessing like this moment or that moment I was really facing. I really was beating myself up really hard. And there's sometimes I still be like, dang, like, how did I get here? Like, how did I get here? And it's about exactly that grace piece, just knowing and learning protocol when it comes to things like this will definitely be better. Like, if only I knew. You ever think about it? Like, if only I knew this is like red flag, or I shouldn't be communicating with these people, or I left some sort of paper trail. Because the thing about nice people, right? Like you mentioned, I was really nice and cool with the leasing office, and they gave me like a week or two to do apartment verification for somewhere else, even because I like owed and that situation happened. They told me like if I can get it somewhere else, they'll approve the apartment verification. But it was just hard for me to find somewhere in my price range that quickly,
Right.
honestly. And the math was not mathing, okay? It just was not mathing at all. So I was just in a spiral. And at that point, I kind of just gave up because what else could I do? Like, what else could I do? And before you know it, I'm packing up my things. I'm getting a storage. I'm donating my couch, my furniture, because I don't have money for a big enough storage for my furniture. So I'm just giving things away. I'm not even selling it. I say, there's probably people out here that absolutely need it, and I'm in the position where I can't have it, So at that moment, I'm just saying my goodbyes and moving forward, right? So it was like very, very traumatic.
You're trying. And I love how you guys said family because y'all, this is the embarrassing part. My family is in Washington State. So my pride let me do payments for that $6,000 because I told you guys I didn't know that I didn't have that loan I took. But I would rather had taken that $6,000 home and pay it off over time versus just calling my family and telling them what was going on. Like embarrassment. Like I'm afraid to say I'm married, he's going through whatever he's going through because he just got back from deployment and now we're about to be homeless. Like I'm trying to do it all on my own. And they didn't know anything until 6 months after we moved. I just told them don't come visit us. And they were like 10 minutes away, like looking back at it. I know you guys' faces, it's priceless. But it's the stuff you think about, like trying to be strong women. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's literally crazy. Yeah. Mm-mm. But we made it. Look at us now.
We did. I really believe when all of this, just looking back, right? I know more now and I wouldn't be making the same mistakes, honestly. I know the right resources to reach out and red flags when I'm communicating with people now because I was vulnerable and I really just needed the help. I needed the money. I needed the income. And I was just desperate at the time to make sure that my kids were safe and they had a roof over their heads, right? But I am moving on with grace and understanding that this isn't going to be my chapter forever. Like it will eventually be over, and I'm just smarter now about the moves that I make.
Correct.
Right.
I'm proud of y'all.
I'm proud of you too. Okay.